Arc Raiders is an extraction shooter, where the punishment for dying isn't the cost of the kit you just lost, but the 5 minutes that you'll have to spend before your next raid navigating the worst user interface ever designed, because despite having 2 million coins, you can't pay anybody in Speranza to put together a full kit for you. It is the perfect game for Redditor fathers of 7 who work 3 full-time jobs, because one clip from the cheapest gun in the game can take out all of the sweaty, unemployed players running high-tier kits. Experience the wonder of trying to do one of the 2 endgame PvE objectives for a few minutes before somebody ganks you for the gear you brought in to take on a challenge they'll never complete because they're too scared to use what's in their stash. In all seriousness, despite having some major complaints about this game, I have had a blast playing it and put in probably 10 times as many hours as I needed to for this video, because even after finishing the expedition and the battle pass and upgrading my workbenches and hitting max level, I'm still finding myself wanting to go topside and see what sort of situations I can get myself into.
I think, yeah, well, I appreciate you more than you know. Bye, friend.
The gameplay loop is dropping into one of 5 maps with roughly 25 other players, getting loot through a variety of means which span a large moral spectrum, and extracting from the map under circumstances ranging from solo rat panic to uneasy social situation to party time. I've got like 1200 hours in Rust and 400 in Tarkov, so I'm not really a stranger to these types of games and the deranged behavior that they typically foster, but Arc Raiders is different. The game has succeeded in bringing the notoriously hardcore and sweaty extraction shooter gameplay to a casual audience, and how it's done that is by sticking to a game design principle of rewarding behavior that they want players to exhibit instead of punishing that which they don't. In the case of Arc Raiders, the developers have designed the game for you to have interactions with other players that are way more interesting than just killing each other, even if that often ends up happening eventually. They've done this by creating a sandbox for emerging gameplay moments through the combination of proximity chat, insanely cool AI enemies with procedural animations which make them very satisfying to engage with and are much more easily defeated by teaming up with other raiders, minimal power scaling on endgame weapons, making loot itself not as valuable as it is in a game like Tarkov, and very importantly, by having the progression mechanics such as the workbench upgrades in the expedition not require any PvP to complete. PvP is still an engaging part of the game, especially when it's part of a larger emerging gameplay moment, but the developers understand that the systems in the game can foster much more interesting interactions between players, and them designing the game to cater to those experiences is why the game has gotten as popular as it has. Many other channels are going to go much more into depth about the emergent and social gameplay within Arc Raiders, so we'll leave that to them. Immediately when you load into the game for the first time, you will recognize how high quality the audio is, even if you're not an audio person and don't understand why. Being a sound designer for games and also somebody who has played a bajillion games, I don't say this lightly that Arc Raiders is easily one of the best sounding games I've ever played.
I did service in the Swedish military because I'm so old that it was like a mandatory thing, because I was a sniper in the military, so we had to do lots of shooting and shooting different weapons and also sabotage things, so we had to blow things up. So I sort of had a quite clear view of how violent the whole experience is, and it like really just turns your gut inside out.
All right, fine, I guess.
The audio in Arc Raiders aims for realism, so let's define what that means. When we think about realism, it can be 2 different things: how accurate the sounds themselves are to what they do or would sound like in real life, and the way that sound behaves physically in the game world. If we look at a game like Deadlock, we get a good example of guns and more specifically bullet impacts that sound good but aren't meant to sound realistic. Games like Call of Duty tend to be somewhere in the middle of this realistic to stylized spectrum, taking mostly realistic sounds but enhancing them just to the brink of stylization. Arc Raiders goes all in on the realism in terms of the sounds themselves, as many games do, but more interestingly is how much effort they put in to emulate how those sounds behave in the spaces they're in, to make the audio experience as a whole feel much more realistic. Achieving this was important because so much of the Arc Raiders experience is just listening to what's going on around you, so the developers want to provide as much information to the player through audio as possible. Lots of the sounds in arc radars are actually many different layers of recordings, and the balance of those layers is determined based on the distance the sound is from the player. Guns, for example, have layers for their mechanical parts, but at a certain distance, it's inaudible to other raiders depending on what fall-off distance the developers have specified for that layer. Those distance-based recordings are then processed in real time during gameplay to make sure that they match the space the sound is coming from, whether that's a small concrete room or a large metal warehouse. The main way this is done is through the use of convolution reverb, which is a digital signal processing technique that digitally recreates the acoustic properties of real-world spaces. Audio engineers capture the characteristics of a room in what's called an impulse response, which allows the convolution reverb to understand how to process the input sound, such as a grenade, to make it sound like it's actually in that real-world space, even if it was recorded in a different one. Some of the important sounds, like gunshots and footsteps, were also recorded both indoors and outdoors, but convolution reverb is still applied on top of those and acts as the sonic glue to make sure every sound, regardless of how it was recorded, feels cohesive with one another and also as if it's coming from the space that it's actually in. The convolution reverb in Arc Raiders is not only really well done, but unlike many other games, they actually apply it to the proximity chat also, which really helps the game's audio experience feel extremely immersive.
Here, do you need anything else, little buddy? Here, dude, here.
If you can craft on the surface, you can craft wheels and stuff up here, you know, so.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. You guys are really cool. I'm glad I ran into you.
Thanks, bro. Hey, if you want, like, hella loot, there's a dude on the stairs on the top of the tower. I don't know what or who killed him, but he had a full inventory, fully loaded.
Now, when the game flies, then what, bitch? Then what, huh? That nigga jumping. That nigga jumped off like a little pussy. Come on, brother, rock. You gotta do it. Good shit, please. I don't have one. No. Sorry. What the fuck you mean I'm sorry? Ain't no way, bro, just did it like that. Nigga, fuck you. Suck my dick, bitch.
Where Embark goes above and beyond, though, is how they simulate how sound reflects off of nearby surfaces, which are called early reflections. This constantly caught me off guard when I first started playing Arc Raiders because it's something that almost no games do, so I kept thinking the sound of early reflections was somebody running up behind me. This is done by tracing for nearby surfaces and spawning an additional instance of some of the sounds on those nearby surfaces. And since that trace is just a single small point, that's why sometimes we get reflections off of surfaces like the cylindrical pillars in the dam that wouldn't normally create an audible reflection. All of that effort put into making Arc Raiders sound realistic, combined with the amazing sound design itself for things like the Arc enemies, make the game sound extremely impressive. Many games have top-tier sound design, but not many of them put so much effort into making the sonic experience so realistic and cohesive. The audio engine that they've built on top of Unreal Engine for Arc Raiders is doing a lot of the heavy lifting to bring the maps to life, and I don't doubt that they'll continue improving on it as development continues. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe so I can grow this channel a little bit and justify upgrading my graphics card and get some higher quality footage, because some of those trees were looking a bit funky as I was playing this. And if you're a developer looking for a sound designer for your game, I'd love to work together, so check out my website and whatnot. Alright, thank you, have a good day, bye bye.
Slide on your feet. Yeah, yeah, you look, yeah, it's fucking crazy, bro. I'm built different.
Oh, yeah, he just did it. You guys don't know
Oh, bro, seriously? Come on, dude.
so lucky, little fatty. I'm shitting on the whole lobby. Oh, you're terrible. Shut up. Shut up. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'll go and shit on your whole entire fucking lobby.
Or whatever. You're a dick.
And you could have it all. My empire of dirt. And I will let you down.